My child, pause everything right now, and give me your full attention because this moment carries weight. You cannot yet measure. You did not stumble upon these words randomly. Your eyes are reading this because I have something urgent to tell you, something your soul needs to hear before another day passes in uncertainty. There is a person already in motion toward your life right now, moving under my direction, under my perfect timing. And I need you to understand what is happening in the invisible realm while your days feel ordinary. If you believe that good deeds deserve to be shared, you can support me a little through the link in the comments. Every contribution you make is not only a help, but also a blessing that will allow me to continue sowing love, hope, and positivity to even more people. I know you have questioned whether I still see you, whether I still move on your behalf when prayers seem to echo in silence and doors remain closed longer than you expected. I know you have learned to hope quietly because disappointment has taught you to protect your heart. You no longer speak certain prayers aloud. You no longer allow yourself to imagine certain outcomes. The waiting has made you cautious, and I understand why, but hear me clearly now. While you were learning to survive the silence, while you were trying to make peace with delays that stretched beyond your understanding, I was already positioning someone through circumstances you cannot see, along paths you do not know, because I had already decided your current season would not last forever. If this resonates with your heart, let me know by typing Amen in the comments below. Do not treat this message as another piece of spiritual content that passes through your feed. What I am revealing to you right now concerns something already set in motion before your confusion even began, before you formed the prayer, before the loneliness became words, before you even understood what was missing. I had already begun preparing an answer that carries breadth and presence in history. Someone has been assigned, and whether you recognize it immediately or gradually, my hand has already touched their journey in direct relation to yours. You have believed that because no sign appeared, nothing was being arranged. But my child, I do not begin moving only after you finally cry out. I start long before your lips form the words. I knew the emptiness that would visit you before you admitted it even to yourself. I knew which questions would rise during those nights when you looked strong on the outside, but felt weary within. I knew which burdens would become too heavy to carry alone. And because I knew, I did not wait for your desperation to reach a breaking point. I chose this person before the prayer left your mouth. I marked the timing before your understanding could catch up with my plan. This is why you must stop believing that heaven only reacts after pain becomes unbearable. I move from wisdom you cannot measure. I prepare from places your vision cannot reach. The answer I shaped did not begin when your struggle intensified. It began while you were still unaware that one day you would need what I had already decided to send. And what makes this sacred is that what I prepared is not merely an event or a sudden circumstance, but an answer carried in human form. Because sometimes what I release into a life must arrive through someone who carries exactly what the season requires. Many people miss my answers because they wait for thunder when I choose to send footsteps. They look for supernatural signs while ignoring natural arrivals. They expect miracles to announce themselves dramatically, yet often my greatest works enter quietly, wearing faces that do not immediately reveal why they matter. Listen carefully. Not every divine answer shines when it first appears. Not every miracle arrives with obvious fanfare. Sometimes what you have been praying for enters through simple conversation, through unexpected reconnection, through presence so ordinary that only spiritual awareness notices the difference. This is why many watch blessings pass by, judging too quickly what did not appear extraordinary enough. But I tell you now, some miracles arrive dressed in everyday moments. Some turning points begin through ordinary introductions. Some of the most significant shifts I create start in moments people almost overlook because they expected something louder. Do not assume that because something looks simple, it cannot be sacred. I have hidden major answers inside moments that appeared ordinary until time revealed what my hand had done. The face of what I send may not match the image you built from fear, memory, or imagination, but my purpose does not weaken because the appearance looks familiar. There is mystery in what I am saying because you may already know this person without knowing why your spirit keeps noticing them. You may meet them soon without understanding why the timing feels strangely significant. You may hear from someone again after long silence and wonder why the moment feels heavier than coincidence. Share this message if you believe in divine timing. I tell you this because heaven marks certain crossings long before human memory recognizes them. There are meetings I arrange before either person understands why the path exists. There are names I hold in silence until the appointed moment arrives. There are people whose journeys seem completely unrelated until one moment reveals that their road and your road were always moving toward an intersection designed by me. So do not assume that because someone belongs to your past, they cannot reappear with new purpose. Do not assume that because someone feels unfamiliar, they cannot carry something deeply connected to your future. I govern timing in ways you cannot predict. I know how to preserve what matters until your soul can receive it without destroying it through fear or rushing. This is why I warn you now. Do not dismiss too quickly anyone entering your season simply because you learned caution through old wounds. I know why you guard your heart. I know betrayal taught you distance. I know disappointment trained you to pull back before hope rises too high. I know your mind compares every new movement to what once hurt you. But if you judge every arrival through the lens of old injury, you may fail to recognize what is entering under my permission. I am not telling you to trust blindly. I am telling you to remain spiritually awake. There are moments when major shifts enter disguised as simple meetings, simple words, simple opportunities. The danger is that wounded memory often labels everything ordinary before discernment has time to listen. Yet many of the greatest changes I bring begin quietly before their significance becomes obvious. A single conversation can shift direction. One meeting can unlock what delay has covered. A person can carry a key you did not know was missing. This is why you must not rush to close your heart where I may be opening something. What I send in this season connects to more than surface comfort. This person carries connection to healing, to clarity, to protection, or to breakthrough in ways you do not yet fully understand. That does not mean they replace me. It means I sometimes use human vessels to deliver what a season requires. There are moments when healing comes because someone speaks truth where silence lived too long. There are moments when direction appears because someone confirms what your spirit struggled to name. There are moments when protection arrives because I place wisdom near you before danger fully reveals itself. There are moments when breakthrough begins because someone carries access, perspective, or peace that shifts what has remained stuck. Let me be specific about what this arrival may carry because I want you to recognize the assignment when it unfolds. This person may bring clarity to confusion that has clouded your thinking for months. They may carry a perspective that helps you see a situation from an angle you could not access alone. They may offer wisdom that untangles decisions you have been afraid to make. They may provide confirmation that what you sensed in your spirit was not imagination, but my voice guiding you toward truth. Sometimes what they bring is not advice but presence. Not answers but companionship that reminds you that you do not have to carry everything alone. Sometimes their greatest gift is not what they say but how their steadiness helps stabilize your own shaking foundation. Sometimes what matters most is not their words, but their willingness to witness your struggle without judgment, creating safety where shame once kept you isolated. There are arrivals that bring practical help you have been too proud or too tired to ask for. Arrivals that bring resources exactly when resources were running out. Arrivals that open doors you did not know existed because you had stopped looking for exits from situations that felt permanent. Arrivals that bring introductions to other people, other opportunities, other pathways that redirect your entire trajectory. And sometimes what they bring is confrontation that feels uncomfortable but necessary. Truth that challenges patterns you have defended. Questions that force you to examine what you have accepted as unchangeable. Accountability that disrupts comfort zones, keeping you stuck in familiar dysfunction. Do not reject correction simply because it does not feel affirming. Some of the most loving things I send arrive wrapped in challenge, not comfort. The point is this: what I send through this person will match exactly what your season requires, and your job is not to figure out immediately what they carry. Your job is to stay discerning enough to notice when something deeper than coincidence is happening. You have prayed often for change without realizing that part of what you ask for would arrive through relationship, through encounter, through presence I position near your path. This is why I speak carefully now, because what I release may first look ordinary until its effect begins unfolding. Let me tell you how this person may arrive so you do not miss them. They may come as someone who asks you a question that makes you pause and think differently about a situation you thought was settled. They may arrive as someone whose story mirrors your own in ways that feel strangely familiar, creating understanding where isolation once lived. They may show up as someone who offers help you did not ask for but desperately needed. They may appear as a person whose presence brings unexpected calm to chaos you have been managing alone. Sometimes the arrival looks like someone re-entering your life after years of distance, and this time the conversation goes deeper than it ever did before. Sometimes it looks like a stranger whose words in passing carry weight that stays with you for days. Sometimes it looks like someone you have known casually suddenly becoming significant because the season has shifted, and what they carry now matches what you need. I need you to understand that divine appointments do not always feel divine in the moment. They often feel natural, normal, even random. But there is no randomness in my kingdom. Every conversation that matters has been orchestrated. Every reconnection that carries purpose has been timed. Every new introduction that will shift something has been arranged long before the moment you shake hands or exchange names. This is why spiritual awareness matters more than emotional reaction. Your emotions will tell you to measure everything against past experience. Your emotions will push you to decide quickly based on how something feels in the first 5 minutes. But I am asking you to engage your spirit, not just your feelings, to notice what resonates beyond surface interaction, to pay attention to what settles in your soul after the encounter, not just what sparks in the moment. And let me address the question forming in your mind. Why did this help not arrive sooner? The answer is simple. Earlier, you would not have understood it correctly. If certain people had entered when your heart was still shaped by previous pain, you might have resisted what you can now receive. If sent earlier, you might have judged by fear what was meant for healing. You might have misread truth as threat, wisdom as interruption, kindness as suspicious, or support as unnecessary because your soul was not ready to recognize why it mattered. Timing protects understanding. Some gifts become clear only after certain inner shifts have already occurred. Earlier versions of you carried reactions that would have distorted what I intended. You had lessons still unfinished, wounds still too fresh, attachments still too strong. So I waited, not because I forgot, but because waiting allowed readiness to develop. Many delays prevent the misreading of what arrives too soon. If you are starting to see this truth, show me by leaving a comment sharing what this is speaking to your heart. And if I had sent this later, you would risk missing help exactly when the season requires it now. There are pressures ahead you do not yet fully see, and I send reinforcement before certain weight becomes too great. If wisdom comes too late, confusion deepens. If comfort comes too late, exhaustion hardens. If direction comes too late, wrong paths strengthen. This is why exact timing matters more than dramatic appearance, because precise timing often reveals more of my care than spectacle ever could. You often notice appearance first, how something looks, how someone sounds, whether the form matched your expectation, but I look deeper. Does this fit what the season requires? Does this arrive where your heart now stands? Does this carry what your present chapter needs? That is how I measure. What fits your soul matters more than what first impresses your eyes. Understand this clearly. I send people in specific seasons because seasons themselves carry different assignments. Your growth requires different kinds of support at different moments. Some remain long, some pass briefly, some return unexpectedly. Some speak once and leave lasting impact. Do not judge meaning only by duration. Judge by what fruit appears in your spirit after the encounter. My child, hear me carefully in this part because what I am about to say can protect you from overlooking what I have intentionally placed before you. Do not judge too quickly what enters your life simply because it does not immediately match what you expected. Human hearts make decisions within moments, building conclusions from appearances before discernment has time to breathe. You have learned to decide quickly what feels safe and what feels uncertain, but not everything ordinary should be dismissed, and not everything unfamiliar should be treated as unworthy of deeper attention. There are moments when your first impression is shaped more by old memory than present truth, more by what once wounded you than by what I am doing now. Do not allow first impressions alone to decide what deserves no further spiritual attention, because many times what I send enters quietly enough that only patience reveals its meaning. You expect my movement to look obvious when it first appears. You expect immediate certainty, immediate recognition, immediate emotional confirmation. But I do not always work according to human expectation. I often send through vessels that do not appear extraordinary because I know how quickly the eye becomes distracted by appearance and misses substance. If I always sent through what looked impressive, many would begin trusting appearance more than discernment. So I allow my work to arrive clothed in simplicity, where only those who pause long enough can sense what outward signs do not immediately explain. The vessel may seem ordinary. The moment may feel simple, yet hidden within can be something carefully appointed by my hand. Do not forget how often throughout your life I have used unexpected things to accomplish what you later recognized as deeply important. There were times when answers did not come from the direction you expected. There were seasons when help arrived through people you did not first imagine would matter. There were moments when one quiet conversation carried more truth than louder signs you hoped for. I do not limit my movement to what fits your imagination. I know exactly how to send through what pride might overlook, through what fear might underestimate, through what wounded expectation might ignore. That is why you must remain open enough to let discernment mature before judgment closes the door. Sometimes answers arrive without obvious signs, because not every answer is designed to impress at first glance. Some must unfold slowly, so your spirit learns to recognize fruit rather than chase dramatic signals. Many look only for what shines, only for what immediately feels extraordinary. Yet some of the deepest movements I create begin so quietly that only later do you realize how significant the beginning truly was. A person may enter without dramatic announcement. A conversation may begin without intensity. A presence may feel calm rather than overwhelming. Yet what appears simple can still carry assignment. This is why quick dismissal becomes dangerous when you assume meaning must always arrive wrapped in obvious signs. And here is what matters most. The arrival I have spoken of matches the exact state you are in now because I do not send blindly. I know whether your present need is comfort, wisdom, healing, direction, or quiet reassurance. I know where your thoughts grow tired at night. I know where old disappointments still influence new expectations. I know where hidden weariness makes you question whether fresh movement can still happen. I know where your strength remains and where you feel fragile even when you say nothing aloud. Because I know, what I send fits the season with precision. This is why timing matters more than appearance. What looks ordinary may fit perfectly because I measure by need, not by image. Some arrivals remain long, establishing foundations. Some arrive briefly, delivering one critical word. Some stand near quietly, yet carry immense purpose through simple presence. Do not judge meaning by how long someone stays. Judge by what shifts in your spirit after the encounter. Sometimes one conversation in one season changes everything, because it arrived exactly when heaven knew your heart needed what they carried. And because my timing is exact, what seems ordinary now may later become one of the clearest signs that I knew precisely what your soul required before you could explain it yourself. So I will say it one final time: do not allow wounded memory to decide too quickly. Do not let first impressions formed in moments override what discernment might reveal over time. Not everything that matters announces itself immediately. Not everything significant looks extraordinary at first glance. Some of the most important people I send into your life will enter so naturally that you almost miss the sacredness of the appointment. But if you remain spiritually aware, if you give space for truth to unfold beyond surface observation, if you allow yourself to notice without forcing conclusions, then what I have already set in motion will become unmistakable in its season. The person I spoke of at the beginning is real. The movement is already underway. The timing is unfolding exactly as planned. Your part is simply this: stay open, stay discerning. Do not rush to judgment based on what you see in the first moment. Do not dismiss based on what you expected versus what actually appears. Give room for my work to reveal itself. Trust that I know what I am doing, even when the process looks different than you imagined. And when the moment comes when you sense in your spirit that something about this encounter matters more than coincidence can explain, remember these words. Remember that I told you someone was coming. Remember that I prepared both the person and the timing long before you knew you would need either. Remember that my hand was already moving while you were still wondering if heaven remembered your name. If this message has touched something deep in your spirit, I want you to do something right now. Type "Yes, Lord" in the comments so I know you received what was meant for you today. And if you know someone else who needs to hear this, someone who has been waiting, someone who has been questioning whether anything is still moving on their behalf, share this with them. Let them know that their season of waiting is about to shift, because this is not just information. This is confirmation. This is me telling you directly that what has felt delayed is actually perfectly timed. What has felt uncertain is actually already decided. What has felt impossible is actually already in motion. I have not forgotten you. I have not abandoned the promises I made. I have simply been waiting for the exact right moment when everything I prepared could be received the way it was meant to be received. That moment is now. The person is moving. The answer is forming. The breakthrough is closer than you think. Stay awake. Stay ready. Stay believing, because very soon you will see with your own eyes what I have been arranging behind the silence. And when you do, you will understand why the timing had to be exactly as it was. I love you. I see you. I know what you have been carrying, and I am about to show you that none of your waiting was wasted. Everything is about to make sense. Trust me just a little longer. The arrival is imminent. Now take a deep breath and believe. Your season is shifting right now.